YouTube, what's up? John Wise here with JPW Productions, coming to you on Saturday, first weekend in August 2023. On my way to the Jacob Henry Mansion, we got a ceremony and reception that we're doing today, full DJ service along with the social booth being run by Drew. So before I get to the venue, I had an idea, kind of a funny thought, a couple thoughts about new school DJs, current times DJs versus old school DJs, what we had to worry about back in the day. As you guys know, I've been doing this a long time, but what we had to do back in the day and worry about versus today, what you have to worry about. So I came up with the top 5 things that DJs nowadays don't have to worry about that back in the day when I first got started we had to worry about, or it was a benefit. So we're going to check those out in just a minute. Stay tuned.
This is another JPW Productions.
All right, we are back with the top 5 things DJs today do not have to worry about that we had to worry about back in the day, or benefits, top 5 benefits of DJing back in the day versus today. So we're going to start off with number 5. Number 5, something that DJs nowadays do not have to worry about, is bumping the table. Back in the day, if you were using records, or if you're a little bit later getting into the game and you were using CDs, all the first generation CD players and even some of the second generation CD players and third generation, if you bumped the table, they would skip. So majority of the night you spent at weddings, the drunker people got, the crazier the party you got, you were watching that table, make sure nobody bumped your table because your music would skip. So that's the number one thing nowadays with computers. I mean, you don't want to bump in your table, but it's not going to skip the music. So that's the number 5 on the list. Number 4, right after this. Number 4 on the list, DJs today do not have to worry about that we had to worry about back in the day, or I should say don't have to worry about that we used to have to worry about. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Let me try that again. Number 4, the 4th thing that today's DJ doesn't have to deal with that we had to deal with back in the day. I guess it's a pro and a con, depending on what your tastes are. But back in the day when I first got into DJing weddings, I was right on the edge, but a lot of the couples were it was kind of a tradition that the DJ would wear a tuxedo. That's right, a tuxedo with a cummerbund and all that stuff. I got into the game kind of when that part was fading out, so I only had to wear it a few times. But yes, back in the day, late 80s, early 80s, DJs wore tuxedos to weddings. That was just it. If you look at it a different way, you never had to worry about what you're going to wear because you knew what you're going to wear. You're going to wear a tuxedo. Nowadays, you got more choices. Some weddings are more casual. It's all over the place as far as attire, which in return gives you more, problems having to deal with what you're going to wear, having to dry clean different stuff and everything. So it can be a pro or a con, but I'm glad those days are over. I did not like a tuxedo. I felt like I was in a tight suit or a straight jacket. Can't even think of the name of a straight jacket. So I did not like tuxedos at all. So I'm glad those days are over. That was number 4, not having to wear tuxedos anymore. That's going way back. Number 3 on what DJs back then don't have to worry about, but DJs today have to worry about. Back in the day, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, this is at a wedding, said, hey, can you play this song, blah, blah, blah. If you didn't want to play, you just say you didn't have it. Simple, end of game. There's nothing else they could do. Walk away, have a nice night, have another beer. Today's DJs, people got it on their phone. They know you have access to downloading stuff. If you don't, they'll give their phone to you. You can plug it in. So there's really no way around saying I don't have it. I mean, that's just, if you say you don't have it, you're basically BSing because everybody has pretty much everything nowadays. So yeah, that's one pro for back in the day versus now, because back in the day we just say we didn't have it, and that's it, end of story. Number 2, kind of building off the requests kind of thing, is having to carry around your library of music. Now again, I got into the game a little bit towards the end of the vinyl, decade, so I didn't have to use vinyl that much. Maybe the first couple years I was in the business, I was using vinyl, but after that, CDs started really getting prominent and everything was getting released on CD. But even then, I was carrying 4 or 5 cases of 500 CDs, so that's 2,000 CDs I was taking on average to weddings, where nowadays everything's on your laptop or downloaded, so it's pretty simple. But yeah, lugging around crates of records, and then fast forward a little bit, having to do CD Logic was the main company that made all the cases, having to lug around 4 or 5 cases of 500 each CD cases, and they weren't that light. So yeah, but the crazy thing was, and Keith was DJing with me back in the day, who was with me now, we knew where every song was in every single case of those 2,000 CDs. You asked us for a song, we knew what page, what case they were in. It was pretty crazy how well we knew those cases. But anyways, not having to lug around the CDs or vinyl crates is a big bonus nowadays, and you can pretty much have everything. So that's the number 2. And the number 1 thing that DJs back in the day did not have to worry about, and DJs today have to worry about, is back in the day we really didn't have any problem with amateur DJs stealing professional DJs' business for weddings. For other stuff, backyard parties, that's a whole other thing. But strictly for weddings, you pretty much had to know what you're doing to get wedding bookings and have a good library of music. So most people back in the days didn't have a wide variety of vinyl or a wide variety of CDs. They just had the CDs and music that they preferred. So if you had an extensive library and you're a professional DJ, you were pretty well protected as far as business goes. There's not some guy that's going to go do a wedding with 10 CDs or 20 CDs in his collection. So you had to have a pretty extensive collection of music back in the day to do weddings, plus know how to do weddings and have the equipment. So there was a lot weighing against the amateurs, so there really wasn't a lot of cutthroat, lowballing, anything like that back in the day. Versus today, anybody could be a wedding DJ, anybody could get a website going, anybody could download the whole library of music, pretty much know everything. They could do Spotify lists. It's all out there, easily accessible. So anybody could pretty much pretend that they're a professional wedding DJ and get bookings from you at a lower price. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves nowadays, that people that have no clue what they're doing are getting bookings, and they got all the music, they bought all the gear, they got everything, and the music library is pretty simple to get nowadays. So that's probably the biggest one. That's the number 1 thing different between back in the day and nowadays. I hope you like that. If you have any comments on any of these, or if you have some additional ones that you like to add, put them in the comments below. Again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Till next time, peace.